despite all the talk of injuries, despite the excitement for Michigan, there's still a game Saturday for the Buckeyes and the Scarlet Knights. Rutgers coming to Columbus. This matchup, again, in the midst of so much madness, there is still a game, folks. The Buckeyes have to win Saturday to get to Michigan. Don't forget that. This is a very interesting matchup. Greg Schiano, a former Ohio State staff member under Urban Meyer, former NFL head coach, a little bit of back and forth with Ryan Day over the years that he's been head coach, and the Scarlet Knights struggling a little bit this season, both overall and within the Big Ten. They just have been mediocre. They played mediocre, and they're going to need another win to be bowl eligible. So per usual, they need this win. They need to win this game. We have our eyes on it. Noon kickoff. The line pretty similar to last week against UCLA. They just have Rutgers and Ohio State getting a few more points overall. I think that part's interesting. But very important here, with everything going on, with all the madness, Buckeyes need to stay on track. So we are asking you to do what we have done all season long on these preview videos. Hit that thumbs up button. And if you're in that zone where you're kind of thinking, like, why would I do this? Why does this matter? So on and so forth. We've done it every time. And where do the Buckeyes sit? 10-0. So make sure you hit that like button. All right, a little bit of injury news. I say a little bit. It's the injury news you all want, right? Everyone's interested in right now. Carnelll Tate, Jeremiah Smith, those are the big two in the injury front right now for Ohio State. There's also some meek things about Julian Sayin and CJ Donaldson. If you remember, they were hurt during the game against UCLA. Sayin fell on his ankle weird, and Donaldson didn't play at all. But after practice Wednesday, Ryan Day giving an update on Carnelll Tate and Jeremiah Smith. Did I say update? I mean, he said the exact same thing he said Tuesday, which if you remember, and if you've watched our videos lately, they don't give details, specifics on injuries. Ryan Day said that. Thus, he said they're working with the trainers to try and get back. Dan Hope with 11 Warriors emphasizing that again, right, that they asked Ryan Day. I do think it's funny. I feel for Ryan Day that on a Tuesday somebody asks for an injury update, and he says we don't give injury details, and then the next day, after he's done a whole practice, you get asked the exact same question. That is an eye roll. That is like this is part of coaching. I'm in it with coaching. So Tate and Smith, this is where you stand with Tate and Smith, okay? There is no update. I'm trying to decipher. There is no update. You just have to wait and see. That injury update is going to come the same way it did Saturday, about an hour or so before kickoff. That's what I will say as far as Tate and Smith. That's what Ryan Day has said as far as Tate and Smith. Personally, I don't predict they'll play Saturday. I think it's all about getting ready for Michigan. That's my personal prediction there. Now, for Julian Sayin, the question with him, again, he fell on that ankle weird and then made a couple bad throws after he actually had his most consecutive incompletions after that injury. Ryan Day just noting he's practiced all week, he's had full practices. I predict he'll play. I think it'll be similar to UCLA, right? Grab that lead, make sure you're good to go, especially if those receivers don't play, and then switch it over to Lincoln Kienholz, who honestly I think could win this game anyway, notably. And then CJ Donaldson, we see you, bro. I know nobody talked about you on Saturday not playing in that game. The red zone running back really is what he's at this point in time. Ryan Day said he's looking strong, and again, had a full practice Wednesday. So there is a scenario where Donaldson plays. I would put him in that same category where I don't predict Donaldson plays against Rutgers. I want your prediction, though, as far as who plays, specifically Jeremiah Smith. Played against UCLA, snap count against UCLA. A lot of people want him fresh for Michigan, but not rusty for Michigan. Will Jeremiah Smith play against Rutgers? Make your prediction now. Type Y for yes, he will play. Type N for no, he won't. You guys know we like to get into that what to watch for before these games. We're actually going to put a little extra effort into the what to watch for. I think our predictions lately, or keys to victory, have kind of fallen by the wayside because of the opponents a little bit. It's next man up because of these injuries. That's a huge, huge key, especially to the offense, and these are your options. You saw a lot of Mylan Graham and Bryson Rodgers last week, and then Quincy Porter also is in the mix as like wide receiver 3, 4, 5. I think they're all even, honestly, at this point in time. I think they may get the same amount of snaps. You can see their stats so far. Rodgers caught a touchdown against UCLA, so he's got the one. And then, guys have come in and out and around. So those are the stats. The people themselves. Mylan Graham is Twitter's favorite Buckeye next up wide receiver. Constantly, Ohio State Twitter has begged for Mylan Graham over Brandon Inniss time and time again. By the way, Mylan Graham dropped multiple big passes that really would have vaulted him forward this year. So I think that kind of tells you that talented, made some plays, but definitely still has some work to do. Again, he'll be an interesting watch. Bryson Rodgers, he is the oldest of that group right there. He gets his first career touchdown pass last week. I think he's the most stable of this group, gonna make those catches, gonna make those plays. And then the freak, Quincy Porter is huge. And it is literally a tight end playing wide receiver scenario here. 6'4", 210, can't miss him on the field. He's battled some injuries this season for Ohio State. That's unfortunately been the theme for him a little bit. But as far as these three guys go, they're next up right now, especially if Tate and Smith don't play. Do you have a favorite of this group? Whether it be from my breakdown, from the stats, or what you've physically seen. Like I said, Twitter loves Mylan Graham. I've seen some here and there about Quincy Porter, and then, of course, Bryson Rodgers has been stable. Let me know who your favorite wide receiver of this group is, or who you think would have the biggest game Saturday. M for Mylan Graham, Q for Quincy Porter, or type B for Bryson Rodgers in the comment section down below. All right, first what to watch for out of the way. The second one's pretty cool, and I know real Ohio State fans and locked-in fans know the tradition of the victory bell. Somebody rings that bad boy, pregame kind of festivity, get you going, hype you up. It's part of the pregame, right? It's part of the Ohio State experience. Well, who's ringing that bell Saturday? Coach Tressel. Welcome back, baby. We've already seen some former coaches a couple times this year. Actually, Urban rang it, I believe 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. And so you're excited, right? This is a really great tradition. Jim Tressel is beloved throughout the state of Ohio. Recent dip into politics, but I still honestly feel like it hasn't hurt his standing. Part of that national championship team, of course, coached him in 2002 and then went back 2 more times. 2007 still kills me. But Jim Tressel is a great man overall, in my opinion. Good for the state of Ohio. Good for Ohio State football, has owned up to that over the years. Quality pick and a great pick for the victory bell on Saturday. Do want to let you guys know this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. You can also follow other Prize Picks users directly on the app, copy their lineups in one click. It can be a friend, celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like. Hit that follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab. I copied this one from Aiden, our quality producer here at Chat Sports. More on Derrick Henry, 86.5 rushing yards. Because of that more, we'll go less on Lamar Jackson passing yards, 218.5. And it's Tyrod, not Tyrod Taylor, more on his passing yards, 181.5. They're also on Prize Picks. Love this. How you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, you can choose Flex Play, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the Power Play. No matter how you play, Prize Picks is a great way to put your takes to the test. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Can't look at our what to watch fors without breaking down Rutgers a little bit as they come to Columbus. Situation with the Scarlet Knights is good offense, bad defense. Good offense, bad defense, right? 5-5. I think that kind of evens out a little bit, and that was my thought breaking this team down, looking at this team, right, is really good offense, fun offense, explosive plays, quality numbers, so on and so forth, terrible defense. So with that offense, you can see him down below there, and again, his stat sheet looking pretty good. Antoine Raymond, the running back for Rutgers, almost an weirdly even set at 200 carries for just over 1,000 yards. That's good Big Ten football running the ball. That's what Antoine Raymond is. That's what Greg Schiano likes, and that's what like Urban Meyer has been used to deal with in the past. So I trust Ryan Day and company to be ready for something like that. But again, that's a quality Big Ten running back that Rutgers has in Antoine Raymond. They followed up with Ethan Kaliak-Manis. Yeah, he was at Minnesota, and then, has had a pretty good 2025, has made the right plays for Rutgers, hasn't hurt them too much. Again, this is an interesting and fun offense. The Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award watch list preseason, Kaliak-Manis. We've seen some Big Ten quarterbacks like this, and the Buckeyes have handled their business defensively against a Luke Altmaier, right? Minnesota's quarterback. They've done the right things against those guys. Drake Lindsey from Minnesota. They have taken care of business against those guys. I think they'll do that against Kaliak-Manis. Over to Rutgers, their defense side of the ball. Discussion with one of their beat writers here. Summing it up well. While the offense has been as good as advertised, the defense has been a disaster, allowing 7.83 yards per play in the Big Ten. Can't have that happen. Big Ten actually usually doesn't push for those high in numbers. They're on pace to beat out 2018 Illinois as the worst defense on a per-play basis in league history. So really bad defense. Run defense is the part of that where they're really, really bad. Specifically, you look at these two numbers, and it's not good to be in the one name a number hundreds of stats in college football, especially when you want to consider yourself a quality program. Their run defense giving up 6.6 yards per carry and 196, almost 200 yards per game. And again, those are bottom totals in college football. And Ohio State ran well against UCLA, who had a bad run defense, right? Bo Jackson had a good game. Isaiah West did some good things. James Peoples was like the star of the night in those running games. So you predict these guys will probably go off again, and you would think they do well once again. I expect pretty similar numbers, if not better, against Rutgers. Do want you guys to, based off that info or all the info we've given you here, predict the score of Ohio State and Rutgers. I'll be honest, Ohio State's, even in these games where they're heavily favored, a little low, right? The 30s. That's where they're kind of roasting in for some of these games. So I want to get your score prediction down below. I'll give mine soon, so hang around for that. The final what to watch for, kind of a sentimental one, right? It is senior day, Saturday for Ohio State. For many players, this will be their final home game. That's the discussion here, is this could be their final home game. I say could be. You don't want to lose this game and the next one. The list of players that will be participating in senior day is interesting because you get to a point where you have the seniors, and we will get to that list in just a second. But the idea that it is senior day, again, I think it's a little sentimental for fans. So let's take a minute here, Buckeye Nation. If you haven't already favorited the video, for good luck, of course, show the seniors some love. Hit that thumbs up button to let them know that we appreciate them. Again, these are guys that have blood, sweat, tears in Ohio State football, so we want to make sure we show them some love. Hit that thumbs up button right now. The participants in senior day, if you didn't know, they're seniors. They're wrapping up here. Sonny Styles and his brother, Lorenzo Styles Jr., Caden Curry, wrapping up a quality career. I like Caden Curry a lot because I feel like he stuck around to be a Buckeye. Probably could have transferred once or twice, stuck around and is having the season he dreamed of, I think. Jaden Fielding's a senior. Tywan Malone, again, Tywan Malone quit. He was double duty, baseball and football. He quit baseball to have this big senior year for Ohio State. So again, it's all about these guys putting blood, sweat, and tears into the program. And again, Will Kazmarek transferring from Ohio and really becoming a Buckeye over these past 2 years. So that's your list of senior day participants. One guy who hasn't really decided what he wants to do, center Carson Hinsman, listed as a senior, is a senior. He still has a year of eligibility remaining. So for Carson Hinsman, the decision kind of is, I need to see where I'm projected to go in the draft, money-wise. Do we win a Big Ten title? Michigan, I mean, there's probably a lot of things he's weighing on his mind, so he won't participate in senior day. It's actually funny. You can actually walk twice, so he could walk and then walk again next year. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing there. And to note, I know those are the seniors playing their final game at Ohio Stadium for Ohio State at home. There's plenty of guys that are going to the NFL draft or going to be NFL players. I just think like Caleb Downs, Arvell Reese, Carnell Tate, if he plays, or just the fact that he's around Saturday. These guys are going to the draft, right? They're not seniors necessarily, but they will not be playing for Ohio State next year. So I do think it's kind of worth noting and taking in. There's even some names that I thought of that, like, maybe they go to the draft and they're gone, or maybe they're back next year, right? Jermaine Matthews, Davison Igbinosun. There's just names where it's like probably going to the draft, I think. So this might be their final home game. I don't know. It's kind of messy, but I think it's good to celebrate these guys on Saturday. And I promised it. My score prediction for this one, I've gone too high. I've just gone too high this season. Buckeyes are running little plays as possible. They're running the clock out once they get that lead. They're controlling the game. I can't go up into the 40s and 50s anymore. I'll go pretty similar to that UCLA game and go Ohio State winning this bad boy 38-10. Again, it's a little bit conservative, but I think Ohio State just wants to win this game and finish things up before they get ready for their trip to Ann Arbor. Now, Saturday, we'll have it all. We'll give you the latest injury reports on our watch party. We'll have some fun. We got a jersey giveaway. We'll be talking ball. It will be a busy Saturday on our watch party. Our guy Matthew Boone giving us that thumbs up. He loves the watch parties. You will too, so be sure to subscribe.